After falling behind 0-3, the chances to hoist the Stanley Cup on life support. Connor McDavid and the Oilers have done the unthinkable in the two greatest words in sports, Game 7. The Oilers look to pull off one of the most improbable comebacks in sports history as the Panthers look to avoid a historic collapse. Boy, are we in a treat for tonight. A Canada team has not won a Stanley Cup final in 31 years, and the Florida Panthers have never won a Stanley Cup final. So here's how the odds look at ESPN Bet right now. Anything can happen, and that's reflected in the odds for tonight's game, with each team minus 110 to win the Cup at ESPN Bet. The Oilers were 14-1 to win entering Games 4, down 3 games to none. We now welcome in someone we know who's going to be locked in tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, NHL Commissioner. Always an honor. I know you love that intro. I was a little dramatic. Friend of the show, Gary Bettman. Gary, it's all that you deserve it all. It's so good to see you, and what a run it's been so far. Tell me this, just as a fan of hockey, what's been the most exciting thing for you to watch this final?
Not just the finals, but people have been saying that this may have been the best season from an entertainment or competitive standpoint that we've ever had. The unpredictability, the races to the playoffs, the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, particularly the third round, and now a final, which is going to be historic one way or the other. And what was also interesting to watch, as I do as a fan, but analytically, everybody thought the start of this round that the finals would be 2 great teams, and then Florida dashes off to a 3-0 start, and people are going, well, I guess we were wrong. And then Edmonton comes roaring back, and to have, as you said, the 2 best words in sports in Game 7, it's a fitting end to an unbelievable season.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Bettman, always an honor and a privilege to talk to you, sir. I'm just looking at this regular season, the most watched regular season since 2015, 2016, and the most watched regular season on cable in 30 years in the United States for the National Hockey League. I want to know, when you have a superstar like a Connor McDavid, can you speak to what he's meant to this sport, particularly in this day and age, knowing the history of some of the other greats like Wayne Gretzky and others?
I mean, he is a bona fide superstar. Most prognosticators, fans, critics and covers of the sport think he's the best hockey player on the face of the earth, and he may well be. I believe he's leading the playoffs in scoring. He's broken Wayne Gretzky's record for assists in the playoffs. He has been truly remarkable, particularly in the last 3 games, which is why tonight is intriguing and unpredictable. And I think the buildup for the excitement is justified, and giving particularly the U.S. audience an opportunity to see Connor McDavid this intensely, I think is great for the sport, because, he plays in Edmonton, and playing there, he doesn't get as much exposure in the U.S. as he does, for example, in Canada.
Commissioner Bettman, Shannon, Sharpe here. Let me ask you a question. We haven't had a team fall down 0-3 and win the Stanley Cup since the 42 Maple Leafs. So you being the commissioner, how surprised are you that we're in a Game 7? And you say as a fan, you was like, man, I thought we were going to have a better series. But as a commissioner and a fan, because you wear 2 hats, how surprised were you that they got into this point, the Edmonton Oilers, and then how surprised were you able to climb out of it?
Well, a couple of things. One, and I think none of the other sports have had this as well. We've had 3-0 comebacks in other rounds of the playoffs. So this isn't the first time that it's happened in the course of the playoffs. As a fan watching the games, and I'm at every game, it was remarkable to see the momentum shift and how things unfolded. But that's what our game is now. It's very competitive. It's very unpredictable, and it's very exciting because you don't know what's going to happen. I believe that somewhere around 45% of our games during the regular season this year were comeback victories, teams that were losing coming back to win. And we're close to, if we're not, having set a record for the most number of multi-goal comeback wins.
Wow.
So the great thing about our game is how competitive it is, and the fact that no lead, either in a game or in a series, is apparently safe.
Yeah, so much parity and no quit at all. Commissioner, let me ask you this. So Canada has had a 3-decade-long cup drought, but that can obviously change if Connor McDavid and the Oilers pull off the unthinkable, win the Game 7. How much would this historic comeback mean not only for Oilers, but just Canada and its devoted fans?
Well, there are a couple of answers to that. It'll also be historic because if the Panthers win, they've never won the cup.
Yep.
My first year as commissioner, the Montreal Canadiens won the cup. They're not true, but there are conspiracy theorists who think that we have something to do with that, and we don't. We're really a multi-country league. We have teams in the US, we have teams in Canada, and I don't view that as us being two different leagues. And I understand the passion for the game in Canada is off the charts, incredible, but ultimately it's up to the teams to decide what happens on the ice. And I don't think what country they play in has much to do with it.
Obviously, you've endured a lot over the years. We've got stoppage in 2000. We got a lockout in 2004, 2005, another one in 2012, 2013. And here we are today talking about hockey, leading a show with hockey, the ratings, everything's been trending, and the trajectory has been absolutely phenomenal. How rewarding is it for you right now?
Well, I never view these things on a personal level.
Okay.
I've gotten, over my 3+ decades, great support from ownership. I think our players and our game are nothing short of sensational. And so at the end of the day, this is a collaborative effort. And over the years, we've had to make some very difficult, sometimes painful decisions to get to the right place. And when you see where we are now in terms of the quality of the game, when you see where we are now in terms of our media relationships in the United States, for example, with the Walt Disney Company, ESPN, ABC, and the coverage and the scheduling and the promotion that we're getting, and the world-class production, and as we've gotten from Warner Brothers Discovery with Turner, we've done a lot of things to grow the game and to grow the fan base. And as people say, the game has never been better. And frankly, everything we're doing is only because the game is as good as it is. And that's a reflection on the players, our competitive balance, and the commitment that people on and off the ice have to our game. And I think we have the world's best fans. So when you put it all together, we're at a good inflection point to see how well it can all work when all cylinders are firing.
Well, how about this question? Taking all of those things that you just said into consideration, have you ever been happier being a commissioner of the National Hockey League than you are right now? How about that question?
When you do what I've been doing for a living, and as you know, I've been in professional sports for 42 years, you can never be satisfied, and you can never be completely pleased, because you're always focused on what the next thing is, and you can't be complacent. But I am feeling that we're in a good place right now, and the best is yet to come.
Commissioner, let me ask you this. Have fans ever asked you this question? Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player, played in Edmonton. Many pundits, even PK Subban and a lot, says Connor McDavid is the closest thing to Gretzky. Have fans said, Commish, how did you let that happen? How can the two best players in the history of hockey end up in the same franchise?
Well, Wayne did play in other places besides Edmonton. He had a great career in LA. He played in St. Louis. He played in New York. At the end of the day, and despite what people think with respect to conspiracies, the draft is the draft, and teams manage their business on an individual basis, and we don't have some grand design as to how things turn out. The beauty of sports is you never know, and there's an unpredictability that makes sports so intriguing and so compelling. And it's why so many people, whether it's hockey or any other sports, of no matter who they are, where they come from, what their backgrounds are, people come together around sports, particularly great moments in sports. And we're hoping with the build-up in Game 7 tonight is going to be another one of those great moments.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
I was going to say, Molly, if Edmonton win,
Yeah.
this is going to be his opportunity to become the great one, because the great one was as great as he was. Once he started winning Stanley Cups, everybody to the down south knew who he was. This is Connor McDavid's opportunity to show the world that he is the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Can be a legacy-defining game. Commissioner, for any casual fans that are tuning in right now that are going to be watching for the first time, what should they be most excited about for this Game 7?
They should be looking at the amazing things that our players can do on the ice at remarkable speeds. The speed and intensity and the creativity of our players and the game is unrivaled anywhere. And so just take a step back, watch it. It's breathtaking, and it's dramatic and compelling. It's emotional. It's everything you want out of a sport.
Can't wait for it. Can't wait to watch it all. And I know Stephen A. will be there with you in person. It'll be a lot of fun. Commissioner Bettman, thank you
Let's
so
do
much
that
for
hockey.
the time. Always
Let's
an
do
honor.
that hockey.
Game 7.
Let's do it.
Let's go. ABC tonight. Don't miss it.